Welcome and good afternoon to the students present in this video lecture. Today in this video lecture, we are going to start our new chapter, that is the chapter number 3 in the fluid mechanics and hydraulic machine, and our chapter is static force on the surfaces and the buoyancy. So in the today's lecture, we only focus on the first portions of this unit, that is the static forces on the various surfaces. So before going to discuss the static forces, we just discuss about the fluid statics. So what is a fluid static? In a very first lecture of the fluid mechanics, we classified the fluid mechanics into the two parts, that is a fluid statics and fluid dynamics. Fluid static can be defined as the study the behavior of fluid when it is in the rest conditions. So we have to study the behavior of fluids at the rest conditions. And rest conditions is a meaning of rest conditions in a broad sense over here is there is no relative motion. No relative motion. No relative motion of fluid is there. So now we broadly go in the discussions what exactly we have to understand by the assumption that we made, that is a fluid statics or fluid is at state conditions or static. So as we all know that the Newton's law of viscosity, that tau is a shear stress which is equals to mu del u by del y, and here this del u is the change in velocity, and dy is the distance between the two different layer. And now we have studied the behavior of fluid at rest condition, means there is no relative motions. So the fluid layer, suppose this is the first layer and this is the second layer, no relative motions between the different layers of fluids, and that's why du component is becomes a zero because there is no relative conditions. So we have this del tau equals to mu, this del u is having a value of zero, so implies that we get the shear stress acting in the fluid is zero. And broadly, by stating that the fluid is at rest condition or static fluid is there, we have to assume that one is now shear stress is zero, then which kind of forces are acting on the static conditions? So here there is a two type of forces are there. One is called as a pressure force, and second force which is acting in the static fluid, that is the gravity. So students, in this chapter, we just focus on the two forces. First one is the pressure force and the second is the gravity force. So now we are going to discuss about the pressure forces and the different terms or the terminology related with these pressure forces. Here, the second topic that I'm going to discuss, that is the actions of fluid pressure on the surfaces when the fluid is at static conditions. So let's say I'm taking the different types of surfaces. Suppose I'm taking one plane surfaces, like this is my plane surfaces, and what I see, this is a plane surface. So let's say at certain point the forces are acting. Let's say here it is the force is acting, one force, another force, then here it is another force is there, here force. So we can resolve these forces, means there is a force are acting on these plane surfaces. We can resolve this force. By resolving a force, we can able to locate, or we can able to say that the pressure force acting on these plane surfaces is acting over here, and the value of this force, that is the resultant, means the summations or the when we do the resolutions, because these all are is a parallel forces, and we can able to resolve it by resolution of forces. Let's say suppose the small area, the force acting, that is the p1, and here it is the area is delta A1. Similarly, the area is delta A2. Here it is the P2, P3, P4. Likewise, this is the Pn, and the area it is also Dn. And when you join the small area, it becomes the total area of the plane surfaces. So here the resultant force which is acting over here, which is equals to the summations of all the P into delta A, which give you the resultant forces. So resultant forces is becomes R equals to P1 into delta A1. Likewise, there is the up to Pn into delta An, because we know the pressure into area will give you the forces. So this is the force at point or the on the area dA1, dA2, dA3, likewise, and R is a resultant force of all that which is acting over here. If I'm taking the curve surfaces, suppose this is my curve surfaces, so some of the forces are acting or the pressure is acting at different point, but now the condition is what, these all forces are not parallel one, and we cannot be able to directly resolve these forces. So what way we are going to solve the pressures, means forces and pressures, and then we need to check that where it is acting. So when the surfaces is curved, it is very difficult to analyze. So we have to define certain terminology to find it out the total pressures as well as where it is acting. So now after this discussion, I'm going to define the two different word. One is called as a total pressure and second word is a center of pressure. So center of gravity, we take that where we assume that the concentration of mass is there. Suppose this is my rectangle, then I'm assuming mass is distributed uniformly among these all the area, but we assume that it is acting in the center of gravity and it is always in the downward direction. So similarly, the pressure forces are also acting in the different small region of the small area, but we need to represent this all the forces by resolving that forces, and that force is called as a total pressure force, and which is acting at particular one point, and that point is called as a center of pressures. So for the plane surface we can do this process very easily, but for the curve surfaces we cannot do this process easily. So for that we have to develop these two terminology, and now we are going to discuss about the two different terminology, that is the total pressure. Total pressure can be defined as the force exerted by the static fluid on a plane or the curved surfaces when the fluids come in contact with the surface, and this force is always normal to the surfaces. This is very important, it is normal to the surfaces. Means suppose if you have this, I'm taking one pan in which if I fill any liquid, let's say the water, then on this surface how we calculate the total pressure. So suppose I have this horizontal surfaces and the weight of this fluid is acting in the downward directions, and here the force is normal to this surface. Suppose I'm taking this vertical surface, then the resolution is taken like this, it is acting in the perpendicular directions, means a normal direction. If another side, then we have this kind of. Now the question is arises, when we have resolved these forces, we need to check or we need to represent in a simplifications that where it is acting. So for that we have to define the center of pressure, and it is the point of applications of total pressure forces on the surfaces. Means it is the point. Suppose this is the point I have to resolve. So I can take this over here. So this point is called as a center of pressure, and this pressure is called as a total pressure forces. We are moving towards the next topic, that is the result and forces, means a total pressure force and the center of pressure. Means now we have the three cases. We have to discuss the case 1, 2 and 3. 1 means the horizontal plane. Second is the vertical plane or the vertical surfaces. We can write as a plane or the surfaces. And third one is inclined. inclined surface or the plane. So one by one we discuss this all the three cases, and in which we are going to find it out the total pressure, and the second is a center of pressure. So let's start with the case number one. Case one. The resultant force and the center of pressures in the horizontal plane or the horizontal surface under the uniform pressures. Let's say I'm considering this is the free surface. Free surface means above which the air is there, and the below which surface is we have the certain fluids. Let's say, see, for the simplification we take the water. So here the water is there. Now we have one plane. Let's say this is the plane. It is in the horizontal conditions. I'm taking the top view of this plane. This top view of the plane, suppose let's say we have this kind of the figure. This is one rectangle is there. So let's say we are giving the name that is ABP, ABCD, and the height of this plane over here from the free surfaces is H. The area of this plane is A. Now the intersection of this diagonal will represent this CG. So this is the point P and CG is there, and here the force, that is the F, is acting. Now we are considering, let we consider the A is the area, H is the depth of the surfaces from the free liquid surface or the free surfaces, rho is the density. So the total force, let's say the total force acting over here, that is the pressure into the area. And pressure, we know that when the fluid is having a height of h, the pressure is acting. We know the formula, the pressure head equals to rho g into h. So here we get rho g h into a. And finally, we can write that the W, which is a specific weight of water, so we can write as a WAH, where W equals to rho into G, and that is called as a specific weight of fluid. So in this way, we can analyze the case one, that is a horizontal. So what exactly we comes across? The plate, this is the plate or the plane, horizontal plane, which is lay under the height of h, and the force is acting, that is the pressure equals to rho gh. So force, we calculate pressure into area, so we get this, and the acting on the center of gravity, that is a CG point. It is very simple and very easy to understand, because the plane is lying at the same height, means the all the corners, like says that A B C D, all the points is lie on the same height, and that's why there is no variations in the pressures occurs. So uniform pressure forces are acting on the whole area, so that we can easily resolve that forces by applying the law, that is P into A and rho gh into A, and it is acting at the center of gravity, that is a point P. Now we are going for the next case, that is very important case, and sometimes it is asked in GTU examinations. That case 2, when the plane is the vertical plane. Vertical plane or the vertical surfaces. So first of all, we need to understand the figure because it is very important. So I'm plotting the free surfaces. Under the free surfaces, there is some fluid is there, and we have the one vertical. Here we are discussing that we have a free surfaces and under which there is a fluid is there, and here this is my surface. So this is the my plane which having this width and this is the height. Now if I'm taking the side view of this, then we have this kind of the thickness, and the center of gravity, let's say, is this point. I'm using separate color so that it can be easily understandable. So here I'm taking this is my CG point, that is indicated by G, and I'm taking strip one strip. This is my strip, and the projection of strip that I can represent over here, this is my strip, and the dimension or the width of the strip is delta H. The distance between these two planes is very small, and that is dH. And the height from the center of gravity, this is my center of gravity, and this is the height from the free surfaces. So this height is my H. Now I'm taking the different nomenclatures that I'm going to use. So let's say A is the area of the plane, then capital G is the center of gravity, that is we called generally that is a CG. The H point is the height of these elementary strips, means from these strips the height is H, and the height of the center of gravity that we are taking as the H cut. So H is the height from the elementary strips from the free surfaces, and H cut is the height of or the distance, or we can write as a distance of CG from free surfaces. Then H is the height of the or the distance of the elementary area from free surface. dA is the area of elementary strips. So let we consider the pressure on the strip or the elementary area. So the pressure on the strip P equals to rho G into H, because this strip is the at height H from the free surfaces. Then we consider the total pressure forces, that is we called dF, which is equals to the P into the area, and the area of strip is dA. And now we put it down the value of P, that is rho GH into dA. And area, we know that the area, this height, the width is B, and the height of this strip is DH. So we can have the value that the where we can write where the dA equals to B into DH. So we can write rho GH B into dA. That is the force or the pressure force acting on the elementary strings. But we are not analyzing for only one strip. we have to analyze these total pressure forces for whole area. So we consider the n number of strips, like say, suppose this is one, this is the second strip I consider, then I have to consider third, fourth, fifth, like that. And this all the n number of strips are jointly combinedly work, and that makes an whole area. So for the total force on the whole surfaces, the total force on whole surface, which is equals to the F, and it is a summations of integrations. Summation means the integrations of this df. So now we need to put it down the value of df, that is rho g h b into dA. So now we need to do the integrations of this term, that is rho g h b into dA. So what we get, we need to only integrate this area over here, because we know that the rho is constant, g is constant, but this here there is h, sorry, dA is not that. We have to, instead of this dA, we need to write only this h. So here again it is the h is there. So we need to have this h into bdh, or we can write as h into the dA, because combinedly bdh is a dA. dA is the area of the surfaces and h is the height. Suppose I have one reference axis, suppose this is my reference axis, I have certain a is there. So this is my area, suppose let's say is a dA is there, and the distance from the center of gravity is h, and I'm taking the integration, that is called as a first moment. So it becomes h into dA. If I'm taking the second moment, that becomes h square into dA. And suppose this is one element, if I have a certain elements and that elements is making one surfaces, so we need to do the integration. So this is my first moment and this is my second moment, and the second moment is called as a moment of inertia. The second moment of area around any reference line is called as a moment of inertia. So student, here I am taking the small elementary area, and my reference surface is the surface that is a free surface. So I am taking the moment around the free surfaces. So here I get the answers, that is rho g into a h cut, because it is a first moment of area. So what exactly comes over here, I just want to give you the idea that h into dA means the h1, let's say, is the height of the first element is h1, and the small area is a dA1. Likewise, height of nth area is hn, and the area is dan, and which is equals to the area, that is a total area, and the height from the center of gravity, and height from the center of gravity is h cut. So we get is equals to the h cut. So this is the expression how it comes over here, that integration hda equals to a into h cut. And now we can write as a rho into g, that is becomes a w, that is called as a specific weight. So we can write as a w a into h cut. So this is our total forces acting on the surfaces. The center of pressure is indicated by H star. Student, here there is a three H is there. One is a small h, another is H cut, and third is H star. So H is the height of the elementary area or strip. H cut is for the CG, and H star is a height of the center of pressures. We can write as a CP, that is center of pressures. So this is the three important nomenclatures that we are using in these derivations. You need to remember it. So now for finding out this H star or the value of H star, so we need to do the balance of moment. So the moment of forces about the reference axis or let's say called a free surface, equals to the sum of moment of all components about same axis. So let we not write the axis, we write as a free surface. So again, I'm going to plot the figure. Let's say it is a free surface. We have this a center body is there, center of gravity. So this is a CG. The height of this is the H cut. The elementary strip, I'm considering this elementary strip. So the height of this elementary strip is H. And now there is important topic, that is a center of pressure. So side view is looks like this. So again take a projection, center strip is there, then center of gravity is here. The force, resultant force, let's say is F, is acting and this point, that is called as a CP. And the height, like take a projection over here, so height of this point from the center of gravity is called as H star. So now we take the moment of one strip and then we do the integration. Same procedure that we have do for the forces, we are doing for the moment, and so that we can able to calculate the H star. So here first I just write it down, the force acting on strip, that is pressure into the area. This is df, this is the df. We have put it down the value of p, that is rho gh into dA. So we get this. Now we have to take the moment of the force acting on strip about the reference line that we are taking, that is a free surface. So this is the strip on which the force acting, this force acting is a df, and we need to take the moment. So the distance between this reference plane, that is a free surface, is, and the center of gravity of the strip, that is h. So h into df. So moment is becomes the h into df. So I just put down the value of this df. We get the h into rho g h into dA. So here we get the rho g into h square into dA. Now for finding out the total moment, we need to do the integrations. So just I'm writing down over here the total moment integrations of the moment, and integrations of moment means we have to do the integrations of this term, that is rho g h square into dA. And rho j is comes out of the integrations, and we have this h square into dA. And again we need to correlate that terms. See, this is the reference line, we said that is rr, and our area, let's say, is a dA, and the distance over here is h. So the first moment is the dA into h, and the second moment is the dA into the h square, and this is called as a moment of inertia, and it is indicated by the I. And I, here in the textbook, it is written as the IO, and IO means the moment of inertia about the free surfaces. So here I just write it down, that rho g into I naught. I naught is the moment of inertia, or it is called as the second moment of area about the free surfaces. Student, here you must have to remember that all the considerations we do for the moment, that we take the reference plane as a free surfaces. So we consider the distance from the free surfaces. Now the total moment, in other words, we can write that the total moment, that force, suppose total force is F, so it is acting around the H star. and as per the static, these both the expressions are equal. So finally we get the F into the H star equals to rho g into I naught. And H star, if we make the subject that H star equals to rho g I naught divided by this F. And we know the formula of F equals to, we have derived it, that F equals to this rho g a h cut, or we can write as W into A into H cut. We put it down the value over here in this expression. Let me write that H star equals to rho g I naught divided by the F, and the value of F we know that, so rho g I naught divided by F means rho g A H cut. So we get finally the H star equals to I naught divided by A H cut, as this rho g is cancel it out from the numerator side and denominator side. So this H star is known as the center of pressure, and center of pressures we'll find it out using, this is the second moment of area about the free surfaces, and this is the first moment of area about the surfaces. We have to go for the parallel axis theorem. Parallel axis theorem means, if you remember that I equals to the moment of inertia, let's say suppose if I know this is my one reference plane that I'm taking, that R1, and I have another reference plane that is R2, and these both the surfaces are parallel to each other, and if I have certain area, let's say is the DA is there, and the distance from this perpendicular distance is h, and I know the moment of inertia about this is I1, and I want to take the moment of inertia about this axis, then we have to use the parallel axis theorem. And parallel axis theorem is says that I2 equals to I1 plus the AH square, where h is the distance between these two axes. So students, this concept we are applying over here to resolve this I naught, because we cannot be able to calculate I naught every time, because it is the taken from the free surfaces as a reference. So we need to convert this moment of inertia about free surfaces to the moment of inertia about the, that is CG point. So we know that I naught equals to the IG means the center of gravity, into AH cut square. So let's say this is a free surface. This is my area and this is CG. So I'm draw one line which is passing through the CG. Moment of inertia about CG is IG. The area of surface is A, and the distance between the free surfaces in the CG surface, that is H cut. So according to this, around the free surfaces means I2 equals to IG plus AH cut square. So using this formula, we'll put it down the value over here of IG, and we get the H star equals to IG plus AH cut to the power 2 divided by AH cut. So now if we separate it out the denominator, then we get IG divided by AH cut plus A and H cut is cancelled out, and we get only the H cut. So this is the formula we get for the H star, and this is called as a center of pressures for vertical surfaces. Before ending this lecture, I just want to revise. Today in this lecture, we have started with the static forces, and we define the two important points, that is center of pressures and total pressure forces. And we have discussed the three cases. First case is very simple, it is horizontal plane, the uniform pressure is there, so we finally calculate the total force is the rho g into h, and the force acting at the CG itself. But when we go for the vertical cases, the pressure intensity is not same on the all the part of the surfaces, and that's why we need to go for the resolution of forces. We have resolved the forces and we find it out the value of total pressure force, that is wa into h cut, where h cut is the distance of the center of gravity from the free surfaces. And then we discuss about the center of pressure, that is h star, and we derive the value of h star equals to rho g into I divided by f, and f is having a value of rho g into h cut. And finally we derive that h star equals to ig upon ah, or io upon ah cut. And then we use the parallel axis theorem and we put it down the value, and final expression is h star equals to ig upon ah cut plus h cut. We are going to discuss this third case in the next lecture, and thank you for attending this video lecture. Thank you.